Hello, I'm Betsy Ross, and welcome to this edition of Healthline. Well, summer's finally upon us, and that means lots of sun and outdoor activities. And today we're pleased to announce that our first segment is sponsored by Dermatology Associates of Northern Kentucky. And Dr. Susan Bushman will tell us what we need to know about skin cancer. And we'll also learn how to select the best protective sunglasses. That's all next and more on Healthline, presented by the Northern Kentucky Medical Society. Our first guest today is going to help us understand what we need to know about protecting our skin against sun damage during the summer months, and especially how to recognize signs of skin cancer. Dr. Susan Bushman is from Dermatology Associates of Northern Kentucky. Doctor, thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
1 in 5 Americans, 1 in 3 Caucasians will have some kind of a skin cancer issue. Those are astounding figures, and we hear so much about skin protection and staying out of the sun and SPFs and things like that, but we still go out. So what is it that still makes us want to go out in the sun even though we know that it can be dangerous?
You're right, Betsy. We're seeing an alarming number of skin cancers, and over 90% of those are caused by the sun. And while people are beginning to become educated about sun protection, we still have a long way to go.
And we'll talk about sun protection in just a little bit, but first let's go over the types of skin cancers, the 3 types of skin cancers, just so people know what to watch for, what they should be looking for on themselves and on loved ones that could be dangerous.
The most common type of skin cancer is a basal cell carcinoma, with up to 1 million new cases each year. They have a variety of appearances, and generally the appearance is not very alarming. They can look like just a scar. They can look like a shiny pink bump, almost like a pimple, or even just a sore that won't heal.
And this is an early stage or an early type of skin cancer.
Well, that can vary. The longer they go on, the larger they get, although they don't tend to spread and metastasize in the body. When we catch them early, they're all curable rather easily with a surgical procedure.
As we mentioned, there are 3 overall types of skin cancers that you should watch for. The next stage, tell us about that.
The second most common type is squamous cell carcinoma. That generally has a crusted appearance, and that can, just like basal cell, that generally occurs on sun-exposed sites. So the face, neck, arms, chest and back. And much like basal cell, these are generally treated with surgery. They're a little bit more likely to metastasize if left untreated.
And the most serious type, melanoma.
Melanoma is certainly the cancer that we worry about the most. While it's the least common type of skin cancer, it's also the most dangerous and accounts for the most deaths from skin cancer.
And we noticed on these, there's A, B, C, D. Tell us about the different ones and the different shapes here.
The A stands for asymmetry. If you were to divide a mole in half and the 2 sides were asymmetrical, that's a feature that's somewhat worrisome. If B is for borders, if the borders are irregular, scalloped, or they sort of blend into the skin around it, that's a more worrisome feature. The color of a lesion can be monitored. If a mole is a nice, even brown color, that's less worrisome than a mole that has, for instance, 2 shades of brown, or pinks or blues or blacks in it. And then the diameter of a lesion is also a consideration. If it's larger than, for instance, a pencil eraser, that can be more worrisome, although certainly we see melanomas that are smaller than that.
And a melanoma, another worry about a melanoma is that it can spread to other parts of the body.
You're exactly right. It certainly can. If we catch them early, melanomas are curable. But if they're not caught early, they can metastasize and be fatal.
We, of course, most everybody has a mole or a freckle or a spot or something on our bodies that we have been dealing with for quite some time, and we're used to seeing them, but when is it something that we need to really see our doctor about? Do we look for changes? Do we look for differences? What's really a signal for us to make sure we get it checked?
Well, we have these guidelines, the ABCDs. Certainly, anytime you have a spot that is concerning, whether it's because you have risk factors, such as very fair skin, a history of a lot of sun exposure or sunburns, a personal or family history of skin cancer or melanoma. Anytime you have a lesion that's concerning or you have risk factors, certainly you should be checked.
Okay, now we've talked about kind of the worst case scenario about what we should be looking for. Let's talk about protection. We all like to go out in the sun, so how do we protect ourselves when we go out?
Sunscreen is an important part of that protection. We don't ask you not to go in the sun, just to protect yourself when you're out. And all sunscreens are not the same. The number is important, the SPF number, but that's not the only thing we want to look for. Your sunscreen should also say broad spectrum, or it may say UVA and UVB protection, which means the same thing. If you look for a product that contains zinc or avobenzone, those have some of the broadest protection and offer some of the best protection. You also need to reapply these products at least every 2 hours. If you're going to be swimming or sweating or for whatever reason the sunscreen doesn't last as long, you may need to reapply it more frequently.
And you've got some examples here of different types and different SPFs and some of the different ways you can apply them as well.
When you look at your sunscreen, just flip it over on the back where it says active ingredients. This one contains avobenzone, so this has a good broad spectrum, and it also says that on the front, UVA and UVB protection. This product even helps you out a little bit. When it's exposed to UV light, the bottle turns blue, so there's no question that you need to reapply this product.
It's a great idea.
It also has very broad protection. This one contains zinc. Some people feel they don't have time to put on a sunscreen. Now there are sprays that make that a lot easier to do and a lot faster. And this also has the ingredients that we're looking for. There are also gels. If someone prefers a product that's not particularly greasy, the gels are alcohol-based and generally will evaporate and dry.
And for those who still want a bit of the tan without getting out in the sun, there are a lot of self-tanners out here now. And this one has SPF included in it.
This product does. The last thing we encourage people to do is go to the tanning bed, because generally speaking, any kind of a tan, even if it's not associated with a sunburn, leads to sun damage. But the sunless tanners are a safe way to get that color. Very few of the products contain sunscreen. This one does, but generally you need to apply a sunscreen on top of your sunless tanner.
And for those who want even more protection, clothing. We've heard a lot about making sure that you wear a hat to protect your face from the sun, too.
Your hat should have a wide brim. A baseball cap leaves your ears vulnerable, where we see a lot of skin cancers. It should have a very tight weave and be a dark color, or at least a very tight weave. And the same applies to clothing. If you're wearing a white T-shirt, that only gives you an SPF of about 7. And if it gets wet, even less. So your clothing should have a tight weave, be a dark color, or may even be a product such as this one that's specifically made to protect someone from the sun. It has a label on it that lets you know that, and there are lots of companies that make products such as this one.
And going back to some of the creams and gels and sprays there that you have, we think about applying them during the summer, but we really need to apply them all year long.
You're exactly right. The sun is out in the winter. It's not as strong, it's not as bright, but it's important to apply them all year round, particularly on sun-exposed areas. If you're in a place where the sun is reflected, such as water, sand, the snow, that's particularly important because that makes those rays all the much stronger.
Well, Doctor, you've given us some good advice on how to be safe and still be able to go out in the sun this summer. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back after this break.
Introducing the iJoy 100 robotic massage chair with patented human touch technology that lets you choose from 4 different massage settings, all in the comfort of your own home. Rolling, kneading, compression, and percussion. And now you can try the iJoy 100 for 30 days as part of our risk-free trial. Just pay shipping and handling to have your iJoy 100 delivered directly to your home. And you can choose from 4 great colors: camel, red, charcoal, and now black. Your iJoy 100 comes with lumbar support pillow, removable massage softening pad, wired remote with magnetic holder, child safety lock, and iJoy's 1-year worry-free warranty. And with your purchase of the iJoy 100, we'll also include our warm air technology foot massager absolutely free. And be sure and ask your operator about our special offer on the Ottoman 2.0 robotic calf and foot massager. To have the iJoy 100 delivered to your door so you can start your 30-day risk-free trial, call 1-800-935-5207. That's 1-800-935-5207. Call now.
For some of us, retirement is today. For others, it's down the road. But wherever you may be on your path in life, we at Central Bank are here to guide you. With a comprehensive selection of financial services and expert advice, we'll help you meet all your needs for today, for tomorrow, and for your future. Central Bank, showing you the way.
And now our medical minutes. Our first story reports that the FDA has issued a strong warning to consumers who buy drugs from online pharmacies. During their investigation, they found numerous counterfeit drugs being distributed, and some didn't even contain any of the correct ingredients. The FDA has compiled a list of websites that are selling counterfeit drugs and has posted them on the web address listed below. And they also tell consumers to be wary if there is no way to contact a web pharmacy by phone if those prices are dramatically lower or if no prescription from your doctor is needed. So be sure to check out this web address if you buy drugs online. Next, some important local news. 1 in 3 American women will die of heart disease, making it the #1 killer of American women. But the St. Luke hospitals are empowering Northern Kentucky women to take charge of their heart health by offering a screening that will help them determine if they are at risk for heart disease. Upcoming heart-to-heart screenings are scheduled on June 9th at Alliance Primary Care in Cold Spring, July 14th at St. Luke Hospital West in Florence, and on August 11th at the Sports Health and Wellness Center in Florence. Cost of these screenings only $35. Walk-ins are welcome, but registration is recommended. Call St. Luke Hospital at 859-212-5600 for more information and to register. Our last story brings some good news for those diagnosed with symptoms of early Parkinson's disease. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration recently approved the NuPro skin patch. This contains a drug that activates the body processes that mimic the effects of the neurotransmitter dopamine. Parkinson's is caused by a loss of dopamine-producing brain cells. Although the FDA cited some side effects, it's hoped that it will bring relief to those diagnosed with early Parkinson's symptoms. That's the Medical Minutes for this edition of Healthline. We'll be right back after this break. Welcome back. As we continue this month's program about summer health issues, our next guest will help us keep our eyes safe from the summer sun. Welcome, Dr. Saif Jawad from Health and Powellite Eye Center. Doctor, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
We think about sunglasses, of course, during the summer, but how important is it not only for us to wear sunglasses when we go outside, but also to have the right sunglasses, because we think about protecting our skin, maybe we don't always think about protecting our eyes.
Right, Betsy, it's very important to wear the proper eyewear during the summer. Ultraviolet light is the main component in sunlight that can cause damage. And in the summer, ultraviolet light can be 3 times stronger than during the winter. Ultraviolet light has been found to cause cataracts, lead to macular degeneration, and even lead to growths on the eyelid, including cancer. So it's very important. But not just the summer, but also in times when you're on the beach or on the water or snow skiing. There's a lot of reflected light that at those times that can also cause damage. And don't forget cloudy days as well.
So we go out to shop for sunglasses, and let's face it, we all worry about what they're going to look like on us. We think more fashion maybe than function. But when we go shopping for sunglasses, what should we look for?
Well, the most important thing is you have to make sure the sunglasses say up to 99 to 100% of UV blocking. Sometimes it might say UV absorption up to 400 nm or nanometers, and that's the key. Now, the American Academy of Ophthalmology recommends that, and they also recommend wide-brimmed hats to protect your eyes.
We hear about UVB, UVA. How about infrared rays?
Well, infrared light is a part of sunlight, but it has not been shown to be a cause for concern when you're choosing eyeglasses.
Okay, so we have a lot of different styles, different types of sunglasses here. The 4 things that a lot of people hear about when they think about sunglasses or hear about them being advertised. We hear about blue blocking, polarized, mirror coated, wraparound. We hear about those types of sunglasses. Kind of go through the list and show us the benefits, if there are benefits to the different types.
Well, with blue blocking lenses, typically it's an amber tinted lens, and it makes everything appear yellow and orange. And what some people feel is that blue light can have a negative effect and can damage your eyes. Now, that's a bit controversial, but some people feel that is a factor. Now, the key point with a blue blocker lens is it does increase contrast, so it makes things appear sharper and more distinct. And that's important for pilots, hunters, and those type of professions.
Polarized, maybe we're more familiar with that term than anything else. We've heard it for so many years. What does that mean? What does it do?
Polarized is very important. This is a characteristic in which, to understand how light works, is light comes down with a certain orientation, and when it bounces off a smooth surface like pavement or water, it reflects back at you at a different orientation. So what polarized lenses do is they filter out that different orientation. So basically it increases contrast and reduces glare. And
when I'm looking for on sunglasses, it'll tell me whether it's polarized.
Yeah, basically sunglasses will usually have an indication, and in this case it says 100% of UV protection, and it also says polarized.
Mirror coated. Good, bad, doesn't matter?
Primarily with mirror coated, it's a fashion type of issue. Now, it does block the light, but don't think that just because there's a mirror coating that it's going to block the ultraviolet spectrum as well.
And wraparound. They have a little bit more protection from the side of our faces.
Yeah, wraparound are actually very important, and these pair of glasses also demonstrate wraparound. It's been found that with traditional glasses, there's quite a bit of open area around the edge, so light can go through that area and actually, damage the eyes. But if you have a wraparound type of frame and lens, then it's going to block that light from getting around your glasses.
Again, we think about being outdoors in the sun, wearing sunglasses, but while we're outside, we're going to be mowing the lawn, we're going to be playing sports. Right. And all of a sudden, those glasses take on a little more importance, because not only are they protecting us from the sun, but they could be protecting us from balls or bats or flying objects. So it's important to have other protection for our eyes.
Exactly. That's one of the big concerns, particularly during the summer, as people go out and do yard work, as people engage in sports. And also, as July 4th is rolling around, there's a risk of firework injury. Now, when you're working in the yard, either mowing the grass, using the weed whacker, or using any kind of power tools, it's very important to wear safety glasses. Now, all the sunglasses that are approved by the FDA have certain specifications for being shatterproof. And so this gets us to another activity of the summer, sports. Now, in the old days, these were your only options for sporting glasses, and I think that people probably just for the looks alone wouldn't wear that. But nowadays, we have very fashionable sporting glasses, which are high-impact resistant plastic, and they can be tinted as well, and they will stay on your eyes. In fact, well-fitted sports glasses can reduce the risk of eye injuries by 90%.
Wow.
And with this type of design, it's not going to hinder your performance. Which brings us to child eyewear as well. You have, also ones made for children that will protect their eyes when they're engaged in any kind of sporting activities where their eyes at risk for injury.
And those are cool enough for a kid that they would want to wear those.
Certainly, exactly. And if they're allowed to pick out the frame, that will certainly increase their chances of wearing the glasses.
Doctor, thank you so much for going through all this myriad of types that we have of sunglasses. And we can be fashionable, but we can also protect ourselves this summer as well. Thank you for being with us today.
Thank you for having me, Betsy.
Got to try these on. I think these look nice. I like them.
Very good.
All right. After this break, we'll have local doctors answering your medical questions in House Calls. Stay with us.
We all take different paths in life. At Central Bank, we understand this. With a comprehensive selection of financial services and expert advice to meet all your needs, Central Bank is there to guide you down your path in life, wherever it may take you. Central Bank, showing you the way.
Let these past Northern Kentucky heroes be an inspiration to your success. I'm Charlie Coleman, host of Northern Kentucky Sports Legends on ICN6. I feel it's important to remember our past as we face the future. Each week, we feature a guest who will bring back memories for some and teach others about where we all come from. Join me each week for Northern Kentucky Sports Legends, only on ICN6.
And you all know John from Corporate Communications?
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me here.
John was asked to come in and help promote how we're changing as a company.
You all know that because Insight offers TV, internet, and phone, we've become a complete communications company, or
We thought it'd be a long shot, corporate and all.
C3 for short. C3 is modern, it's high-tech, it's catchy, it's stupid.
Look, we're not about a letter with a 3 on it.
What we're about is being local.
And straightforward.
And keeping things simple.
Is that changing?
No. Sure, we're now more than just cable TV, but we're still Insight.
We did do T-shirts. We got other colors. Where do you see the hats?
Our House Call segment gives you, the viewer, an opportunity to ask questions about your own medical concerns. We have doctors from the Northern Kentucky Medical Society ready to answer your questions. So, our first question comes from Bernie from Highland Heights. Lately, I've been having trouble with my knees. It's difficult for me to walk upstairs, and my knees are very stiff after I sit for a while. I'm 70 years old and had to do a lot of walking for my job before I retired 2 years ago. Well, we asked Dr. Gordon Eyre to answer this question.
Bernie, I think it's very likely that you do have arthritis. Your symptoms are very typical of what we see with so-called osteoarthritis or wearing out arthritis. It's part of the aging process, and it's due to wearing out of cartilage on the ends of the bone. And your symptoms are very typical with stiffness getting up and difficulty climbing stairs. You might also notice some swelling in the knees, feeling of catching, and pain with standing or walking. We don't really have a cure for the arthritis, but there are effective treatments, possibly including medication, injections, and sometimes even surgery. I'd recommend that you talk to your doctor about it.
Dr. Michael Jones answers this question from a viewer in Crescent Spring. My 50-year-old sister alternates between bouts of diarrhea and constipation. She suffers from bloating, and she's miserable most of the time. She's afraid to eat anything because she fears it will make her sick. And I'm worried that she might have something more serious. So what can I tell her?
Marie, your sister's symptoms could represent any number of gastrointestinal-related problems. These problems could be very severe or may be less worrisome. My recommendation to her would be to seek medical attention for these problems in the near future. I would be significantly more concerned if she had what we would consider warning symptoms, which would be any blood in her stool, significant weight loss, or an acute change in her symptoms. In any event, she is over the age of 50, and we'd recommend that she see a gastroenterologist for further evaluation of these symptoms.
And our final question comes from Marie in Fort Wright. I'm a 65-year-old woman, and my husband is 67. I want to know, what are the symptoms of a heart attack? I read that they are different for a woman. And how soon should we get to a doctor after having some of those symptoms? We went to Dr. Patrick Beerer for this answer.
In a man, the symptoms often are a very severe crushing chest pain that may also be felt in the arms, particularly the left arm, or the jaw, or the neck. And with it, the man also may have shortness of breath, nausea, sweating. In a woman, on the other hand, they may not have chest pain at all, or if they have chest pain, they may describe it as a sharp pain or a vague pain, or their chest pain may not be as severe as some of their other symptoms, which might be an intense fatigue or weakness or shortness of breath or nausea or dizziness. I would advise anyone that if they're concerned they or a loved one is having a heart attack, that they get to the hospital right away. It's important to start treatment as soon as possible.
Thank you, Doctor, and thanks to all our doctors, Dr. Gordon Eyre, Dr. Michael Jones, and Dr. Patrick Beerer for their professional medical advice. Well, we have come to the end of this month's show, and we would like to thank our guests, Dr. Susan Bushelman and Dr. Saif Jawad, and a very special thank you to Dermatology Associates of Northern Kentucky for their participation in this edition of Healthline. We appreciate your help. And if you missed some of the information listed on today's program, or if you have a question that you would like answered in our House Calls segment, well, be sure to go to the Northern Kentucky Medical Society website and just click on the Healthline button. All of our information is listed there, and you can email us your questions. Each of our Healthline programs will air several times each month, so make sure you check the listings for the days and the time. Well, goodbye for now. I'm Betsy Ross, and this has been Healthline, presented by the Northern Kentucky Medical Society.
Get a $150,000 mortgage for $450 a month? Now you can with the new Secure Advantage loan, exclusively from Quicken Loans. Nothing cuts your payment like Secure Advantage, the loan that gives you the advantage of choosing an incredibly low payment month after month. With the Secure Advantage loan, you could cut your payment by over 50%. Take a look. The traditional payment on a $150,000 mortgage at 7% interest is $1,000. But with the new Secure Advantage mortgage, you can select a payment of just $450 a month. That's a difference of $6,600 a year, which means you'll have more cash on hand to save, remodel your home, or whatever you need. Isn't that worth a few minutes on the phone? Call now to see how Secure Advantage could cut your payment by over 50%, whether you're buying a new home or refinancing. If a $150,000 mortgage for $450 a month sounds good to you, call now while rates are low. Quicken Loans, America's home loan experts.